That sounds so pretty. Then let's do the thing.
Let's do the thing. Well, Daena, welcome to the Colleagues for Life podcast.
Thank you so much, Megan. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, I'm super happy to have you here. So for our audience, welcome to the Colleagues for Life podcast. You have reached Origin Stories. I know we haven't had one in a little bit, but it is a distinct pleasure to welcome Daena as our guest today. So, Daena, how'd we meet? What's our origin story?
I looked it up just for reference because I like exactness, and I think it was December 7th, 2025. So quite recently. And I met you because Kenya Baker thought to introduce us because we're in the same city. Mm-hmm. And I met Kenya at a conference earlier that October. So it all happened quite quickly. And I remember when I met you, my current program was just a dream. I feel like we connected right away and then quickly learned that we have both been in similar roles and even worked at the same organization at the city, just at different times. And so I left the city at March 2020. And then when I met you in 2025, you were in the very same role that I was in back then. So how crazy is that?
It's wild. It's wild on so many levels because I met Kenya through just a happen chance on a Zoom call for workplace mental health. And she and I just had some different approaches and different thoughts about the way that the conversation was going. And we ended up chatting in the side chat. We had a side chat in Zoom. And I think that's why they shut those off. We were the reason they shut that off because we were like, is this? And she was like, no. So we connected that way during the pandemic. So in 2020.
Is that where your side chat title came from? Cool.
Yeah,
cool.
Very much. Okay. It's the side chat to the chat.
Yeah.
Good catch. And then, Kenya and I kept in touch when she moved to Ontario. And she said, I was at a conference in Nanaimo and I met this woman. She used to work for the city. I think you need to meet her. She's in Calgary. She's working on some cool stuff. And I was like, yeah, you know me. I'm always up for a connection. Why not? And then we got to meet online, which was fun.
Yeah. And then in person.
And
finally.
Then in person.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think at the time when we met, we had been at the same job. I think I had left it just a little while ago, but I was still quite in touch with the team. So you and I had some connections in common. So you have this project that you're doing, which is probably one of the most, I don't even know the word to use. It naturally drew me in a way that a program, an online course, a training, or whatever, which I've done a lot of, I'm sure you have in your time as well, it drew me in a way that I have never experienced before. And A, for that, I thank you. And B, for that, we need to tell the people about it. What is Reclaimed? What is it about?
Yeah. So for me, I spent my life trying to understand myself. Essentially, Reclaimed is a compilation of all of the most powerful healing tools I've acclimated along the way. And my healing journey was one, very lonely, and two, very piecemeal. And I think a lot of people will try that app or will try this online meditation or will try this membership, and none of it all fits together. And so I wanted something that was integrated, holistic, and it is for the corporate woman, but not for the benefit of corporate, if that makes sense, even though they will be a natural recipient of this, but it's for women who have achieved so much and still feel hollow on the inside, still feel like something is missing, that everything they built in success doesn't feel how they thought it would feel. And essentially that connection is coming back into ourselves because we've earned the success based on conditioning that's not truly ours. And very masculine, where the feminine nature has been disqualified, dismissed, and not permitted, right? The power of emotions, which is our superpower, has got a bad rap. For a lot of women, we develop strategies to survive, such as people-pleasing, perfectionism, overperformance. And if we do this long enough, because we started doing that when we were 3 and 4 and 5, do it long enough, and then we mistake that strategy as a personality.
Daena, you're looking in my eyes as you were saying that, and I'm like, she's calling me Well, I don't want to say out, but like in. I was like, she's calling me in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As soon as we say, I am a perfectionist, I am a people pleaser, once we associate those patterns with identity, we will defend them, which is why trying to change them is so hard, because it's who I am. And who I am, we don't want to dismantle that. That causes a lot of scariness, a lot of grief. But we are the woman underneath the patterns, where we don't have to prove our worth, which we've been doing for decades, lifetimes, lineages, but we have to learn to live from it. And that can be really hard and scary. And the thing I think people don't talk about when we talk about growth is the grief. Because to grow, we have to let go either of our old identity, be willing to let go of old identities, sometimes of old friendships or relationships that no longer aligned or help you grow into who you want to be, or that are supportive. So there's a lot of grief and letting go in the process of becoming the woman that you've always desired to be.
So well said, and so spot on to the women that I've come across in my career, and likely that you've come across as well.
I've been all these things.
Yeah.
There's a reason. I'm helping women just like myself.
Yes.
Yes.
It's funny, for years I've told people I'm a recovering perfectionist.
Me too.
And a recovering people pleaser.
Yep.
And I think what I like when I really reflect on what I have seen of your program so far is that it takes past the I'm a recovering. It's like, okay, great. So I know this about myself, but what now? And just like any recovery program, as you said, there's the grief. I mean, we could take the Kubler-Ross change curve and apply ourselves to it all over the place.
Yeah.
And so many recovery and healing programs honor that it's a journey and that it's not linear and that it slides back, but there hasn't been anything structured to meet women where they're at on their recovering people pleasing and perfectionist journey in this way.
Yeah, there's so many things I want to touch on in that. I think one of my really strengths is that the wellness world is seen as renouncing life's pleasures and sitting atop a mountain by yourself in robes and, like rejecting the world. And that's just not realistic. That's actually a very masculine, patriarchal designation for that type of lifestyle. But we can live authentically, we can live wholly and enjoy all of the things that we're here to enjoy, right? And so when you're talking about the linearity of the healing curve, that's the hardest and most discouraging along the path. It's again thinking we are the pattern. And so that when we're in the lows, we think this isn't working. That isn't working. You're going into a quiet, feminine, dark phase so that you can integrate, update your system, essentially. But as soon as you bind the story that this isn't working, it discredits everything that you've done. And so the same with people pleasing and perfectionism, being in recovery, that also subscribes to an absence model, which is not realistic in life, I think. It's not that we are stop being perfectionists. It's that we see it as a strategy and we choose when it's going to benefit us and when it's not. It's all the freedom comes from choice. And before you have choice, you need to see the separation between identity and pattern. And to do that, you need to build strength and stamina of attention and awareness.
Everything in there, especially the part where it's a strategy, because the part that I think has been the most hard is great, I'm not going to people please or perfection anymore. And like you said, that's
unrealistic.
It is unrealistic. If
it served us for a reason.
Yeah. If you have a goal, if you want to achieve something, if you want to be proud of the work that you do, and one of the things I like to say is the right hard work feels good.
Yep.
And I think that goes in beautiful alignment with what you're saying is you're making a choice to do that right hard work, to put the efforts into making that right hard work what you need it to be or what you expect or want it to be.
Yeah. And even the word work carries so much, because especially for most women that are so overloaded, overwhelmed. And when we, redefine what we think of as work, right? Because we have work, we have housework, we have working out, we have child work, we have, elder care work. So the work on ourselves unprioritized. And so reclaimed is for the woman who has mastered taking care of everybody else and not herself. And so, yes, finding the time in the day can be challenging, but once you get a structured system that's easy to weave into your life, then you know that these 20 minutes are for you and for you alone. And the benefit that will serve everyone, even though that's not the point, will be tenfold of what you're able to serve and give now.
Oh, for sure. And it's the word. It's what is work. And like you said, I think how we frame work and embody work in our lives makes a difference in how we view that word. And I think I'm on a bit of a mission without even knowing it. I think this is coming through right now. I think I'm on a mission to figure out how to bring work into the world as not a dirty word anymore. So that we don't have to mask it up with, oh, this is my work family, or this is my work home. Yeah. Why can't a workplace be a positive word? Why can't work be a positive word?
Because if it's not, you're heading the wrong direction.
Oh my gosh, of course. Yeah.
Because that happens when your purpose becomes your work and your work becomes your purpose. If you're feeling unaligned, it's because you are misaligned.
Totally.
It's too overwhelming. We cannot change the things that are happening around us. And so the best way to find alignment is create alignment in yourself first. Then reality will shift to match your new energy, your frequency, your vibe, whatever you want to call it.
And then the output of that, the work.
Then it's less effort. It's effortless. Yes. Because the world works around you instead of you trying to work around the world.
And you're giving of the gifts that you have to give.
Absolutely, rather than trying to be somebody else. The amount of energy we spend hiding ourselves, masking ourselves, or trying to be what we think we should be or people want us to be, that's why everyone's burnt out. Because all the energy is going in the wrong places and you're not getting refilled.
I want to talk about the ripple of that for a second. The ripple of that is the more aligned people you have in one space, the better the outcome for all.
100%. And I want to talk about this too. I was going to say a regulated woman. I'm going to say a reclaimed woman because regulation has got this, so I'm just going to call it like a very masculine projection of control and calm.
Yeah.
That is not regulation. That is control tactics. A healthy nervous system is one that is flexible, meaning you can move through the entire range of human emotion, which is women's superpower, or the feminine superpower, without getting stuck in any one big emotion. That you can recognize it, you can separate the pattern, and you choose to what and with whom you share your emotional power with. Sometimes it'll benefit you. Some people think authenticity is just complete, free, unfiltered expression. And that's going to get you in trouble. Oh, yeah. And it's not going to get you what you want. Nope. There's a difference between communication and expression. And so when I talk about regulation, it's creating a nervous system, one that you feel comfortable in, that you feel you are in charge of, that you get to direct how and when you use your energy, and you create capacity. Right now, we've created capacity for pain, for suffering, for outsourcing. What we want to do is create capacity, clear some of that emotional density out, and then create capacity, train ourselves to be able to hold more joy. Because for a lot of us, we experience foreboding joy, which means I get really, really happy. I was driving in the car the other day and I was feeling really good. And then I had the awareness that I was feeling really good, so that amplifies it. So I'm like, oh my gosh, now I'm feeling really good. And then the self-saboteur, there was this micro shift of guilt. You shouldn't feel this happy. And we learn that at a very, very young age. And so, but the best part is seeing growth in real time. Because if I had not noticed that tiny micro shift, I would have just kind of come down. But I said, not today, guilt, no. And I knew how to regenerate that feeling of joy and hold it. And you hold it, that's stretching your nervous system to hold more joy without collapsing in on yourself or giving it away.
The funny thing about joy for me is that I think for the common person who comes about me, they're like, oh, how are you so bright and shiny? And you must be happy all the time. And my life's mission is to somehow get my inside to match my outside because they are very different worlds, which I know you recognize and understand. Most people don't. But with joy in me, it's almost a scarcity journey where I'm like, when is it, this feels good now, when is it going to go away? And I think as I'm listening to you, I'm stitching together the idea that it will go away. I can handle it. That's okay. It will come back as well.
Yeah. I just want to clarify what will come back.
The joy.
The joy. Oh, yeah,
The
yeah.
joy will come back.
And this is another unrealistic. We're not supposed to be happy all the time. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
That is unrealistic. There are periods. We live in a dualistic world. There is light. There is dark. It's learning to hold the paradox at one time. To know I can be completely overwhelmed and want to spiral, but so grateful for the reasons I'm overwhelmed that I can sit in that space and stay neutral. It's being in the depths of your despair and knowing that you can laugh or find joy, and knowing this is temporary, and sitting in that liminal space of between both. Not one or the other. That's where we get caught, and that's where we get stuck.
I've coined a term that it's not black or white. It's black and white, and there's a rainbow in between. There's a spectrum of rainbow in between.
Absolutely.
Every color that we can and cannot see.
Yeah. And it's learning how to tap into that rainbow at will.
Yeah.
Knowing when to let yourself rest, knowing when to set boundaries with yourself, knowing how to expand glimmers. They're all that internal universe, because if life is a pattern or a weave of patterns, and we are a pattern as well, when we again align that internal pattern, we can blend into the larger pattern rather than trying to fight it. Even myself, for years, I'm like, I don't have a victim mentality. I'm doing all these things. I'm like healing and on the path and doing all of it. And then it wasn't until I got to the deep, and I was like, oh, there's the victim. I have been. And then we just love the one. I love the one who's a victim. I love the one who's felt that she's a victim. But if you think of it, it actually makes sense. If you think like when my grandmother was born, which my egg was in her body, right, through my mother's, and through epigenetics, we know that our body, our DNA holds up to 3 generations of DNA data. And so I can be processing or trying to heal my grandmother's wounds.
Yeah.
Right? And so when your pain doesn't align with your reality, and it feels, that dissonance feels like, what the? That's a turning point for me, when I threw my hands down and I said, this is not my pain. This is not my pain. Whose is it? And it was through my maternal lineage. And so then it feels unfair. Why do I have to? Because now we have the brain evolution. We have technically the time and space. This is what drives me crazy, right? We didn't invent dishwashers and washing machines and microwaves to work more. Those things are supposed to create space, and we're filling it usually with the wrong things that aren't fulfilling us, right? Yeah. And so, healing past pain is one of the trickiest, most frustrating, most breakthrough pieces that you can do. And so that doesn't necessarily come in season 1 of Reclaimed. That comes in season 2, which is about emotional alchemy. But you need season 1 to have stability and grounding in the body, so that your system can hold and support going through these big emotions without blowing out your nervous system.
Oh yeah, definitely. And just in the nature, as you're saying, victim, just in the nature of feeling hurt or feeling dismissed or feeling something. When we feel those emotions, when you look down to it, it's because we feel something happened to us. And that is, I think we have to look at some of the definitions a little bit more broadly. Like a victim, it's not our personality. It's a part of us that feels we've been wronged.
And that's the thing, what's wrong with us? Women have been wronged.
Exactly.
And so even if you could be feeling the collective pain of the feminine that's coming up for reevaluation, and so there's this big pendulum shift happening between the masculine and the feminine, and neither are wrong and neither are right. What we're trying to do is mend the brokenness between them.
Totally. And I think the part I was picking up on is just embracing those parts that feel off-putting and that feel like, oh no, I'm not a victim. I don't have a victim mentality. But kind of by definition, if you feel hurt or wronged, there is a victim piece in there that we have to accept and be okay with and find our way through. Yeah. Otherwise, we will miss out on a part of the process.
Yeah. And so even you saying that, where even the denial of it is a pattern strategy to avoid. Because if you then acknowledge and accept you are a victim or have been a victim, then you have to acknowledge the hurt. And so our whole brain is so brilliant that it creates all these layers and patterns of protection to avoid feeling that darkness. And yet our job is to find a way to bring light into that darkness.
Ooh, I love that. I'm also thinking about the safety that we build in ourselves, as you were saying in the season 1, equips us to need less when we go into the dark, because it expands our capacity for it.
What do you mean need less?
So, when you're in a familiar place, and maybe it's a moonless night, the stars aren't really out, maybe it's the dead of winter, and it's those dark nights. And you know the place, you know the space. And I've done this because maybe I'm strange, but I've gone outside in my snow gear and just laid down in the snow and just enjoyed the dark and the cold.
Exactly.
And by, even just those words, the dark and the cold, you think, I don't want to do either of that. But I think if you're in the right gear, in the right space, in the right place, in the right mindset, it can be beautiful. All right, my next question for you, Daena, is what can someone expect from Reclaimed?
And so right now the program is 1 season. So 1 season has 3 months. And so every week there's a 15 to 20 minute audio that you access online, self-paced, and you do the same audio 5 times that week. But the intention of that is we learn through repetition. You don't really have to do anything. You just have to show up and be present with your body. And if you can find slightly less distraction than your regular life, that's ideal. And then so 3 weeks, there's a new audio practice and they all build on each other. So you learn like a grounding technique, and then the next week you ground quickly, and then you learn the next technique. And so it's all layered. So it builds internal stability without you having to effort to do so. It will happen naturally. And then week 4 is no new audio practice. It's an integration week. So it takes one of the practices learned through that month, and you set a timer and you practice it one day or several days of that week in real time, in real life, in the meetings, in the grocery store line, while prepping dinner, whatever it is. And then that's how you see how the practice comes off the seat and into real life quite seamlessly.
I love that. So we know what the structure of the program is. Yes. How would I access it? I know we have a link, but do you have a website? Would you go through your socials?
Oh yeah, actually, so the link's in my bio.
Yay.
On Instagram, it's Cadence_wellness. And that's the easiest way to access. And I'm quite new to social media, not LinkedIn, but I'm new to the Instagram world. And honestly, if you had asked me a year ago if I would be on Instagram from a business perspective, I've been resisting it for years. Now it's getting really fun. It's still very challenging. It's a whole new level of growth, of visibility, of being seen, of being authentic, showing up. And so I'm really trying to grow my presence on there. So I appreciate any women supporting women.
I have to tell you, I've really enjoyed your presence on the gram. I'm not a huge grammer, but you're someone that I like to interact with, and I feel compelled to interact with you in a good way.
Amazing.
And that doesn't happen all the time, let me tell you.
Yeah.
So you're doing well.
Thank you.
So I have 2 questions that I would love for you to answer. The first is, what makes you a good colleague in life?
Okay. Well, honestly, fun. Okay. Fun is the frequency. And if you're not having fun, what's the point, right? The other side is I know how to freaking have fun. I've had to cope, to learn. So usually most teams that I've come into, are, nice and working together, but not super cohesive. And I'm sorry, but I'm a fan of happy hours. I think it's an accelerator to connection. If you get together outside of work, and share a drink or two, you really get to know people quite quickly, and it creates just the best bonding. I come from a family in corporate, and that's what I've learned, how to really establish relationships like that. So you've got to have fun. And I'm also HSP, highly sensitive person, or neurosensitive. And so I'm transparent. You can see exactly how I'm feeling all the time, and I can't bullshit anybody. And so that transparency allows people to trust me because they know exactly what they're getting when they're getting it. And I don't really hold much back,
I love that. I kind of have a philosophy that if you're not having fun, what's the point?
I just said that. Yes,
just like you're saying.
Yeah. I love that.
I love that too. And a work trip. Nothing bonds you like a work road trip.
Holy schmoly. Yeah.
All right. And for you, what makes a good colleague?
I think the willingness to be open. So my openness can, create a little skepticism in people, but it doesn't get to me. Because of my sensitivity, I can also really feel into the other person and kind of meet them where they're at. It's not a perfect system, obviously, but it's the constant showing up. It's being consistent in their self, in myself and their selves. And so when that comes together, and their openness, and they're willing to be transparent, and they're willing to laugh and have fun, then we're all aligned. Yeah.
I love that. That openness. Openness to have some fun.
Openness, yeah.
That's great. Well, congratulations on Reclaimed.
Thank you.
This has just been glorious, and I feel as though we have many other episodes that we could record. So thank you very much. With that, my friends, thank you for being here for another episode of Colleagues for Life. And until next time, stay collegial.